Did you know that brisk walkers can enjoy up to 20 years more life expectancy than slower walkers? Perhaps you didn't know that if you drink 16 to 20 ounces of water immediately upon waking, this can boost your metabolism by 30%. Well, these two things are nothing compared to the 7 amazing habits that I'll be sharing with you in this video that I highly recommend you add to your life. Today, I'll be sharing 7 powerful habits that could add years to your life and bring you more focus and joy and energy to your day. And like all great habits, they are simple and free and offer immediate benefit while also being conducive to longer lasting change. And for all you coffee drinkers, you will love number 3 is a game changer. And number 7 is the best because it not only improves the health and longevity of you, but for others around you. But before we get into those, let's start with habit number 1. Morning screen detox. If the first thing you do upon waking is checking your phone, then I have news for you. You may well be addicted to it, and you're messing with your brain chemistry. Most people are unaware of just how destructive this practice is. It is the equivalent of putting vegetable oil into a Ferrari. Here is just how much of a difference it makes. Immediate screen exposure upon waking reduces your cognitive flexibility by about 35%, which leads to reduced problem-solving ability, decreased in mental clarity. In fact, it leads to a reduction in your creative thinking in the morning and your strategic planning. And this is the time in the day of quiet contemplation when you should be looking towards the day ahead and being able to plan it out effectively. Resisting that urge to pick up your phone is an act of discipline. When you do, it triggers that small little firing of dopamine that would otherwise put you on this perpetual restless cycle where you're constantly looking for further dopamine hits throughout the day. But just like fasting, if you ever do intermittent fasting, you'll notice that if you don't get up and eat breakfast, it's easier to go throughout the day without eating. But if you get up and have pancakes for breakfast, then by lunchtime you're going to be hungry. It's the same thing with checking your phone. This positive act conditions you for more disciplined behavior throughout the day and is more likely to be followed by further positive actions. After all, dopamine is associated with your reward pathways. Yet reaching for your phone the first thing you do in the morning to check your Instagram is not been preceded by anything worthy of a reward. You've just woken up, so don't abuse your neurochemical reward pathways like that. Moreover, you're probably going to just flood your brain with needless notifications and information that's not going to truly benefit you. And engaging with your phone first thing in the morning can also trigger your fight or flight response, this sympathetic response associated with increased stress, leading to increased anxiety and just setting a stressful tone for the rest of the day. Because of comparison triggers and dopamine dysregulation and information overload, all these things working against you. So my question to you is, why would you want to start the day like this, injecting your morning with stress and anxiety and a deficit in your cognitive ability? So just how helpful is this morning screen detox? Research shows that avoiding screens help you be more proactive as opposed to being reactive, preventing distractions that would otherwise derail your plans. So this is especially important if you're someone who does procrastinate or is easily distracted. This is an unbelievable hack. In fact, having a screen-free first 60 minutes of the day increases daily productivity because it allows for more natural cognitive activation and morning planning that is going to set the tone for the rest of your day. The first few minutes of your day are the most important, so don't let it be derailed by this unhealthy habit. Start strong, finish strong, but mold it based on your wishes and your goals and how you want your day to look. So what are 2 ways you can do to make this easy? Well, number 1 is to place your phone either in another room or at least on the other side of the room in which you're sleeping. This means that you can't just simply wake up, roll over and be on TikTok within 10 seconds. Just that small amount of distance is usually enough friction to help you avoid using it. And if you're someone who ordinarily uses their phone as their alarm system, I would strongly suggest you use an analog alternative. And number 2 is having something else in mind, a replacement. And this holds true for any kind of addictive behavior. It's important to replace that bad habit with a more healthy one. So I would simply hold in your mind something else you can replace it with and make sure you go to bed with that firm intention, whether it be when you wake up, the first thing you're going to do is drink a glass of water or just do some stretching or walk outside. It doesn't matter, whatever it may be, just something to interrupt your usual cycle of behaviors and replacing that negative habit with something more positive. And if you wake up with that in your mind, that clear intention and goal, you will find that the craving to want to look at your phone diminishes as you claim control. And you'll find that going that first 60 minutes is easier, and it makes that whole day easier, so you're not compulsively checking it. So just give yourself 60 minutes as a phone-free sanctuary and just see how much better you feel. This will amount to a calmer morning, placing you in a state of clarity and focus. So just imagine how much more productive and serene your day would be without anxious thoughts or distractions. But that might be nothing compared to habit number 2, which is a fan favorite for its benefit to all your metabolic markers. Number 2 is the 30-30 rule, or a protein first breakfast. If you do it right, your breakfast can be a metabolic magic wand. The 30-30 rule is simply consuming 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes upon waking. And this can offer significant health effects backed by research. Firstly is improved appetite control. A high protein breakfast can help regulate your hormones related to hunger and satiety, things like ghrelin and GLP-1. The effect? This helps reduce hunger and cravings, particularly for carbohydrates, which are often the enemy of people, which tends to translate to fewer calories consumed later in the day, which is ideal if you're someone who's focusing on weight loss. And it will help you avoid that mid-morning snacking. Similarly, we also see stability in blood sugar levels. Protein does help slow glucose absorption into the bloodstream. And what's more, instead of opting for a high carbohydrate breakfast, the protein is not going to trigger insulin in the same way, thus improving your insulin sensitivity. What we see is a reduction in blood glucose fluctuations, and it is these fluctuations that often translate to fluctuations in energy, leading to that late morning or mid-afternoon energy crash. Instead, you're going to achieve more stable energy throughout the day. And when we also consider that a high protein breakfast helps maximize muscle development, in fact, we see increase in muscle protein synthesis compared to a low protein breakfast, this means that you're going to have better recovery, better cell repair and muscle growth, and ultimately better physical performance. But it's not just physical. We see enhanced cognitive and mood benefits with this practice too. Protein-rich meals do provide the amino acids that are essential in order for you to produce neurotransmitters, these chemicals in the brain that regulate your mood and energy. And they can also help mitigate stress and anxiety. And we see an improvement in cognitive performance in the form of improved concentration and clarity. So ask yourself, how important is it to you to feel cognitively sharp in the morning? So what would be good examples? Well, an omelette, you could have cottage cheese with chia seeds, you could have high protein yogurt with nuts and berries, or a protein smoothie, either animal or plant-based. All of these are suitable options in order for you to increase your protein first thing in the morning. Now, before I get onto habit number 3, I just need you to hit that subscribe button and ring ding ding that bell. As a doctor, I'm an acute specialist with a love for longevity and performance medicine. And I'll be releasing videos each week that I hope inspire you and offer concise health information to help you enact amazing changes in your life. So hit those buttons because it'll be the easiest thing you do today, but it might just benefit you for years to come. Okay, number 3 is the caffeine hack. Most people are criminals when it comes to caffeine, just sabotaging the potential benefits of it by not knowing the simple principles and how it works. See, your body's natural energy peaks around 30 to 45 minutes after waking, in line with this natural peak in cortisol levels. Drinking coffee during this time is like trying to jumpstart a car that's already running. Instead, what you want to do is to delay that initial caffeine, that initial first cup of coffee, for at least 1 to 2 hours. Drinking caffeine when your cortisol is climbing or at its peak, you risk disrupting this hormonal pattern and your body's natural stress response to provide you with more sustained energy. And the next thing to understand is how caffeine works to block adenosine receptors. Adenosine is this neurotransmitter that promotes sleepiness. But when you first wake up, there may be some adenosine that's needed to be cleared naturally, but the levels are generally quite low. And if you're drinking caffeine during this time, you are not effectively using it to its maximum benefit because there's not enough adenosine for it to block. And what you risk doing is drinking copious amounts, blocking the receptors until eventually it wears off and you have a flood of adenosine, which results in this crash that you might experience in the late afternoon or evening. And what the science shows is that if you delay that first cup of Java by around 90 minutes, then we actually see an improvement in the stimulant effect of caffeine. So that first cup, when you do have it, is going to hit you like a rocket. And this means that you're less likely to drink a second, third, and fourth and put you in this dependent cycle where you're just pounding cups just to try and get through the day. So you can get the engine revved with just 1 cup if you time it right. And as I said, it helps avoid that dependency behavior, where you're teaching yourself that caffeine is an amazing tool, but not a crutch. And what's more is if you're drinking lots of caffeine throughout the day, then it's more likely to interrupt your sleep cycle, meaning you're just going to be even more tired the following day, meaning you're more likely to drink more and more coffee, putting you in this perpetual cycle. But here's a little bonus hack. If you add L-theanine to your coffee, studies have shown that this has this amazing synergistic effect, where it enhances the effect of caffeine and the L-theanine, improving attention and cognitive performance more than if you just had caffeine alone. And what's more is the L-theanine helps promote relaxation, so it puts you in this amazing state of both calm but alert. So habit number 4 is cold water exposure. So this one is not for the faint-hearted, I admit, but there is a reason why this is exploding in popularity the world over, thanks to people like Wim Hof. And it's because there are very few simple, quick things that you can do that have such a dramatic effect on both the mind and body as cold water exposure. I mean, just even 30 to 90 seconds of cold exposure can increase your metabolic rate, boost your immune function, and improve your resilience. See, cold water exposure helps activate brown adipose tissue, or otherwise known as brown fat, which is slightly different to the white fat most people are familiar with. Brown fat actually burns calories in this thermogenic process to produce heat, which of course will aid in weight management. And alternating between hot and cold, for example, if you were in a shower going between hot and cold, or using a sauna and an ice bath, this has the effect of improving your vascular tone. See, your vessels that carry your blood have muscles around them that allow them to dilate and constrict. And like any muscle, they need training. This habit helps enhance your vascular tone, improving circulation, which underpins your cardiovascular health, but also all the organs in which this vascular network supplies. Now, cold water also has amazing benefits on your immune system. Cold water immersion has been shown to increase levels of natural killer cells, these fundamental white blood cells that are really important in helping you fight off foreign pathogens, and also cancer. Cold water also helps reduce chronic inflammation, which is associated with so many different diseases. It helps reduce several different inflammatory markers, things like C-reactive protein and many different interleukins. And this might be why in a Dutch study they observed that people who enjoyed this habit of cold water immersion had 29% fewer sick days in the year. But it also has amazing benefit of helping improve your resilience and managing your stress response. And it does this by altering your brain chemistry, causing a more sustained release of dopamine, which is related to your motivation and your mood and your focus. And we see strong evidence that improves mental health. My advice would be start gradually, start with something small, have a normal shower, warm, do everything you need to, and just at the end, turn it as cold as it goes. And you could start by just doing 15 seconds. And when you feel ready, you can then increase this to 30 seconds, 1 minute and 2 minutes. And that is enough to get the benefit you need. And consistency matters. Really try and do this daily, or at least 3 to 4 times a week. That's the key for lasting benefits. And the last tip is just focus on your breathing. Just focus on taking slow, deep breaths. You'll find that the experience is much more easy if you do this, because cold water immersion is like a drill sergeant for your body. It demands immediate adaptation, but makes you stronger over time. It can be intimidating, but just ask yourself, what is scarier? Having a brief cold shower, or missing out on all these amazing health benefits? So habit number 5 is morning sunlight, nature's miracle medicine. What if I told you just 10 to 15 minutes of morning sunlight can transform your health landscape? Think of sunlight like a conductor orchestrating some of your body's most complex systems, from melatonin regulation in your circadian rhythm to mitochondrial function and energy production, immune system response, and a number of others. So morning sunlight helps you regulate your circadian rhythm, this internal 24-hour biological clock that helps govern your sleep cycle and your energy production, and also your hormones. It's really important to try and develop a routine circadian rhythm. It's really quite difficult to establish optimal mental and physical health without having this routine. See, morning sunlight helps suppress melatonin, the hormone that causes you to be sleepy, signaling your body it's time to wake up, ensuring that your body can then also get to sleep at the right time in the night. And a study from Stanford University showed that those people who were exposed to sunlight first thing in the morning, within the first hour of waking, fell asleep faster and reported higher sleep quality. So do you feel groggy in the morning and don't feel well rested? Do you struggle to sleep at night? Well, ask yourself, when was the last time you soaked up the morning sun? But sunlight exposure also helps regulate your serotonin, this key hormone that's involved in regulating your mood, and also regulates cortisol. This morning sunlight boosts the serotonin and kind of works like a natural antidepressant, increasing feelings of calmness and happiness. We know that people with higher sunlight exposure have a lower risk of depression. So when was the last time you truly felt energized in the morning? Are you getting enough sunlight? And lastly is vitamin D, of course, the sunshine hormone, which is just the godfather of your immune system and your skeletal health. Your body will produce vitamin D when exposed to sunlight, and just 10 to 15 minutes can help boost vitamin D production. And since vitamin D underpins so many different health outcomes and biomarkers, it is really something you need to optimize. And considering up to 40% of the global population are deficient, it's certainly something you should think about addressing. Are you trading your health for shade? So what's the optimal sun exposure protocol? You want to aim for within 1 hour of waking, getting 10 to 15 minutes of sun exposure, ideally with exposed limbs. And that's direct sunlight, not sat at a window. Be outside, breathe the fresh morning air, get that sunlight on your face and on your limbs, and be a part of nature. You can combine this with a morning walk and expose as much skin as you can without scaring off your neighbors, and avoid using sunscreen if you can. Make this a regular appointment with nature. It's a fantastic way to start your day if you can, and you're going to get countless benefits from this relationship. Now you'll notice that all the habits I've discussed so far are all associated around the morning routine. And there's a reason for this. It's because if you can shape your morning and get these simple things right, then the rest of the day will fall into place. This morning is really what sets the tone, and it's what predicts and determines what the rest of your day will look like. And it's a nice way of being able to get these positive habits done in the morning, so you can reap the benefits of them throughout the day. So habit number 6 is mindful eating. Mindful eating is just simply the habit of being present when you eat, being void of any distractions and focusing on what you are doing, which is nourishment. And as odd as it may sound, it has profound physical and mental benefits. I'm reminded of what someone said to me when I was inquiring about why we see these populations in Italy, for example, where we have high levels of centurions, these people who live beyond 100, despite the fact that some of these populations still consume quite high levels of alcohol, but also refined carbohydrates and saturated fats. And they replied with this, and they said, well, it's because they eat with their heart. And I think there is something quite profoundly beautiful and poetic in that. And it is true. There is some greater value in not just enjoying the food you eat, but really having a deep appreciation for that nourishment. It's something that's resonated with me because it is something that's also vanishingly rare. Because in this fast-paced world, we often cram in our meals. We often do so distracted. We chow it down as quickly as possible and often see it as an opportunity to listen to a podcast or watch TV or something like that, rather than just being present. But here are the benefits of taking the time to appreciate your meal and the nutrients it's giving you. Number 1, it actually aids in weight management. Being mindful whilst you eat helps you tap into your body's natural cues and feelings of satiety, meaning you're less likely to indulge and overeat. So ask yourself, how often do you eat on autopilot? And could slowing down simply help you enjoy the food more and eat less? Number 2 is that it improves digestion. Simply put, if you take the time to eat slowly and chew properly, then this enhances nutrient absorption and reduces digestive discomfort, which is something that many people experience. And research shows that those people who are just gulping down meals as quick as they can are more likely to suffer from bloating and indigestion compared to those who take their time and eat mindfully. Think of your stomach as a blender. If you chuck in huge big chunks of food, then it may struggle, but putting in finely chopped ingredients, it's going to be a much smoother experience. Number 3 is an enhanced relationship with food. Mindful eating encourages this non-judgmental awareness of food choices, helping to reduce this emotional eating and binging episodes. And one study showed a 26% reduction in binge eating episodes in just 8 weeks for people who engage with this practice. So ask yourself, have you ever found yourself at the bottom of a bag of Doritos and just gone, where the hell did they go? And maybe you should tap into this. And what's more is that this practice tends to reduce the stress response, and we see a reduction in cortisol in people who are more mindful as they eat. And a simple way to activate this is to do some deep breathing just before you have your meal as well, to put you in a more relaxed state. And people tend to make better food choices when they incorporate this habit. In fact, those mindful eaters were eating more vegetables and fruit compared to those who eat while distracted. Because would you choose differently if you were savoring each bite rather than just smashing it down your gullet? So here are simple tips for mindful eating. Choose one meal a day. It doesn't have to be all 3 or 4 or 5. Just choose one where you're not going to distract yourself with any screens or anything else. Try and pay attention to the senses, the flavors and the smells and textures, everything that meal offers you. And take your time. Take at least 20 minutes to eat the meal and chew properly. Savoring each bite and enjoying that meal and showing gratitude for it. And pay attention to your body's feelings. When are you actually full? When do you feel is a natural, good endpoint to that meal? And finally, number 7 is connection ritual. Gratitude is life's greatest currency. It modulates your perception of the world and everything that happens and gives reason to life. And there's perhaps nothing you should be more grateful for than the people in your life. The Harvard study of adult development since 1938 consistently shows that relationships are just quintessential in both physical and mental health. That social connections is what makes this human experience so beautiful. What is life without these relationships? Gratitude and connection rituals are just simple practices that combine emotional well-being with social interactions. These habits, when practiced consistently, can transform your physical and health, as well as helping foster deeper connections and sense of fulfillment in life. Here's why they matter and how to integrate them into life. Firstly, boosting your mental health and reducing stress. A 2015 study showed that those who practice gratitude reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety, and consistently report lower levels of stress and increased happiness. Because after all, human interactions are associated with very real hormonal changes in the body. For example, the release of oxytocin, this very much feel-good hormone that helps enhance the feelings of love and connection. It is a bonding hormone that lowers your levels of cortisol, whilst loneliness is associated with a 26% increase in premature mortality. But of course, it also improves your physical health. Expressing gratitude can help lower your blood pressure and even improve your sleep. And we even demonstrate a better immune response to illness in those who practice gratitude and have better social connections. And these gratitude and connection rituals just help deepen your relationships to ensure better intimacy. And we know that even families who eat together more regularly have better cohesion and demonstrate higher levels of family happiness. So what's a really simple way that you can incorporate this? As for gratitude, simply journaling. As I mentioned, just writing down a few things that you're grateful for, either in the morning or at night. And try and be specific. Instead of just simply saying, I'm grateful for my family, try and reference an individual interaction with a family member that you're grateful for, or a particular characteristic trait or something you've learned from them. And as for the connection, this is easy. Just simply spend 5 to 10 minutes ringing someone in your life. Whether it's an old friend, a family member, or a lover, just someone to express that you're obviously thinking about them, you care for them, and there will be reciprocation. Connect with the people in your life and just see how your life improves. Because the great thing about this is you're not just impacting your life, you're impacting theirs. It is a public health policy that we should all be implementing. And it should warm you to know that just by this simple act that you could really improve someone's day. So there you have 7 simple but powerful habits that you can incorporate into your daily life that are going to have incredibly redeeming and replenishing qualities. But as a pro tip, start small. Just pick maybe 2 or 3 or even just 1 and try and adopt that. And only when you feel comfortable with it, move on to more. But if you try these for just 30 days, you are going to see a significant change. And I'd love to hear from you. Please do comment. Let me know which ones you're excited to try, or if you have done, how they went. Let me know in the comments, and as I said, please do like and subscribe. I'd love to have you along for the journey. Remember, health is a direction, it is a journey, and small changes can lead to massive transformations. But anyway, until next time, take care. And if you want to find out why some people live longer than others, then check out this video.